David Ritsema. I'm the pastor at First Baptist Waxahachie. I'm joined today by Eric Black, who's at the Baptist Standard. And so I'm going to ask you, Eric, if you would just kind of tell us who you are and what you do.
All right. Well, I'm Eric Black. I'm the executive director, publisher, and editor of the Baptist Standard. That's a mouthful. And I came to the Standard after being a pastor for 8.5 years. So people want to know, who am I and where did I come from? Well, part of where I came from is the pastorate. I don't have a background in journalism, and there's a lot of things I'm learning on the fly because journalism moves fast. So I'm learning it as I go.
And for maybe somebody who's watching this and doesn't know about the Baptist Standard, how would you describe it?
Well, the Baptist Standard is a 132-year-old news organization for Baptists in Texas. So we've been around since 1888. We were incorporated as a separate 501c3 nonprofit organization in 1915. And we grew up with the Baptist General Convention of Texas. So for about 100 years of our history, we have worked very closely with the Baptist General Convention of Texas to tell the news about and for and with Baptist churches and Baptist schools, universities, human welfare organizations. And so we carry news, opinion, resources, and we ceased printing the paper in 2012. At that point, we went fully digital. So everything that we've done for 130 years plus is still online at baptiststandard.com.
You know, the people have told me around here at First Waxahachie that there was a time when the Baptist Standard would be printed with the church newsletter and go out. And so everyone in the entire church read the church newsletter and read the Baptist Standard.
Oh yeah, there was a time in Texas anyway where there were more subscribers to the Baptist Standard than there were to Time magazine. The Baptist Standard was so influential in Texas and across the United States that one of my predecessors sat down to talk with John F. Kennedy. And I believe it was when he was running for president, but to talk to him about Baptists' concerns about a Catholic president.
Catholic.
Yeah. And so there's this picture of E.S. James sitting with John F. Kennedy that was in the office. We don't have that office anymore. We work remote. I used to walk into the office and see this picture of one of my predecessors sitting with John F. Kennedy. And that's kind of heady stuff. I don't anticipate that happening with me, but at any rate, there was a time, when the Baptist Standard was very influential.
Recently, you guys have made some new strides, I think. You've now got an app, right? I downloaded it the other day.
All right. Good.
I really like it. I hope people will download it too. What was that process that kind of brought that about?
Well, we had a lot of requests for it, for one. A few years ago, the Standard had talked about creating an app, and what a lot of people don't realize when we go to the App Store, and I didn't realize this either until I got into it, when you go to the App Store, you've got this finished product there. You just tap on it, and maybe you have to pay for it, maybe you don't, but you download it, and there you go. But to actually bring that app to market and to keep it serviceable and functional is a huge investment, and it takes a lot of time. So we needed to find someone who could make an app that worked for a news organization, because that's an even smaller niche in the whole app market. So it took a while to find a company that could build that for us and do a good job with that. And then from there, it's hammering out the details and all of that. So it took several months to bring it to market.
Having made the transition from pastor church world into your role at the Baptist Standard, what are some things that have maybe happened along the way that would be of interest to people?
I get asked a lot, do I miss pastoring? Do I look to go back into the pastorate? And I mean, the honest truth is no, I don't. And I believe that God called me to this. The truth is, before I came to the Standard as a staff member, I was on the Standard board. And I was asked to serve in 2015, was elected onto the board in 2016 by the BGCT. And about a year and a half in, Marv Knox, my predecessor, announced his retirement. He said, okay, well, we need to find a replacement. I'm thinking I'm going to be part of finding his replacement. What I didn't anticipate was that I was going to be his replacement. And so when I was approached for that, I said, no, no. I mean, I was flattered, but no. No. I was not looking to become a journalist or to run the Baptist Standard, those kinds of things. And after a lot of prayer and, well, actually the earnest prayer didn't start until quite a few people said, you need to do this. And then my name was put in by a couple of people. And my wife and I, we said, okay, look, they're not going to stop asking until we give them my resume. So I gave it to them. I thought, okay, that will settle the issue, because there's nothing on my resume that says, yeah, this guy should be. I didn't think anyway. And well, so that didn't work. And they they called for the first interview. And the thing about it is, I mean, I know the group because we had worked together on the board. And so, I mean, they're all sharp people. They're very capable people. And you know, the problem was really with me. It wasn't with them. So at any rate, the first interview, I go in, I'm not looking for the job. I just answer their questions. And I had some questions of my own. And I walked out and I called my references. I said, you may be getting a call from the Baptist Standard, but this isn't happening. And almost to a person, they said, are you sure about that? What makes you say that? I think you might want it. And then I realized I was in trouble. So we started praying in earnest about, okay, God, what do you want? Because well, it's a longer story. I became a pastor because I felt God calling me to it, not because I ever wanted to become a pastor. And I put my resume out, ended up at a church. And when I got there, I felt settled in my soul in a way that I don't ever remember feeling before that. And so I was committed to pastor that church as long as God had me there. And people came, people talked to me about going somewhere else. And sometimes the church talked to me about going somewhere else. But I never felt released until the Standard. But even that, I wasn't really sure about it. So we prayed about it. And we said, but if we go there, it's going to be because God calls me to the Standard and releases me from the church. So anyway, eventually that happened. And I just got to the point where I couldn't say no anymore. So, I mean, that really informs me and who I am in my role at the Standard, is that I come to it with a really strong sense of call. My last day in the pulpit was Sunday, June 10th. And my first day with the Standard was Monday, June 11th. And I don't know if you remember, but in 2018, the Southern Baptist Convention annual meeting was June 11th through 13th. And then CBF had their General Assembly in Dallas. Both of them were in Dallas, by the way. CBF had theirs Thursday and Friday of that same week. So, I mean, first rattle out of the box, I'm covering SBC the first part of the week, downtown Dallas, and CBF the second part of the week in downtown Dallas. So that was, I mean, my head was spinning with all of that. Yeah.